Hey, welcome to this week's edition of Getting Real with Jordan and Christie. My name is Jordan, and if you notice right off the bat, we're missing the second half of this party, Christie. She is actually not with us this week because she is spending it up in Tacoma supporting her husband as he coaches his high school boys basketball team in the state tournament. He's going after the state title, the 4A boys state title, and the #1 team in the state right now, and so we're all rooting for the Titans, and we're with them in spirit, just like I know that she's with us this week in spirit as well. What we wanted to talk about today was questions that the buyer needs to be asking about a house before they ever make an offer. You approach the home buying process, we talked about this earlier, with a list of yes and no's, a list of must-haves and must-have-nots with a house. A checklist of what you want in a house and why. And even if a house meets all of those expectations, checks all the boxes on your list, there are a few questions to be asking to make sure that you know what you're getting into. Buying a house is one of the best decisions you can make. It's one of the best investments you can make in your life. And because of that, because it's such a big purchase, we want to make sure that you are the most educated as possible about what you're buying. One of the biggest questions to ask about a house is about the age of the roof. When houses are built, they put on a roof and it can last 15 years or so, give or take, and depending on the roof. And maintenance needs to be done throughout the life of the roof, and so depending on maintenance, it could start deteriorating early or deteriorating late. It could be anything. So you want to know how old the roof is, when that was maintained, how it was maintained, if it was replaced, when was it replaced, because that may factor into your costs in the next 5-10 years, and you want to be aware of that as you go into it. You want to go into the transaction with your eyes completely wide open, knowing what you're buying. To go along with that, you want to know what type of foundation it's on. If it's a slab foundation, if there's a basement, if there's a crawl space, things of that nature. Rural homes actually have in the past been built on boulders and stumps because that was the most firm thing around them for them to build on, and so that was the most sturdy part that they could use as their foundation. So you want to know what kind of foundation the house has as well. You also want to know about the inside of the house. You want to know about the appliances. One of the biggest costs of buying a home is the appliances. If they have no appliances, then you have to purchase those on top of the purchase price. If there are appliances in there, you want to know as much about those appliances as possible. Have they had problems in the past? How old are they? Do they have warranties? And if so, where are the warranty papers? You want to get all that stuff, so if something happens to one of the appliances, you're ready, you're prepared, you know exactly what's going on, and it doesn't take you by surprise. The more educated you are, the more open your eyes are going into a transaction, the less surprised you will be when something comes up, and the more prepared you'll be as well. You also want to know about the surrounding area. Is there an HOA? A homeowners association usually has dues associated with it, either monthly or yearly, and you want to know what all that all entails. Maybe it's just you can't paint your house crazy colors. Neon green, paint that glows in the dark, that's not allowed. And that's okay, maybe that's okay with you. It also could be you can't have RVs parked in the front yard. If you have an RV and you look into an HOA and they have rules that say you cannot have an RV parked on the property, then you could get fined. And if you don't want to buy a house that doesn't allow you to partake in the things that you enjoy doing, like RVing. You also want to know all about the location. The overly used expression in real estate that is very true, but has become way overused, is location, location, location. It's absolutely imperative that you know about the location of the house you're buying. We talk about the walking score. The location is all about the walking score. If there are things all around you that you can really enjoy about the neighborhood, if there's shopping malls close by, if there's stores close by, the walking score has everything to do with how close you are to things that you want to do outside the house. If it has a high walking score, then that's awesome. Location's great. You also want to know how close you are to major freeways, major highways. In Vancouver, we have 2 main freeways, 205 and I-5. You want to know how close you are to each of those. You want to know which one that you use to get to where you need to be for work or for school or whatever it is. You also want to know what kind of school districts the house is in. You may not have any kids right now, but in the future, if you stay in the house, you want to know what school they'd be going to. I have no kids yet, but when I buy my next house, I want to know what school district it is in, so I know what school my kids will be going to in the future. These simple questions can really give you insight into the long life of the house. They help you see how you're going to be living in the house, what kind of life you're going to have in the house in 10, 20 years. And the more questions you can ask up front and at the beginning, the more prepared you are during the process of buying the house, and the more prepared you, and the less likely you are to be surprised throughout the life of you owning the house. So ask questions, get informed. Information is progress. So even if your questions lead to things that you didn't want and it forces you to get away from a house and not put an offer on it, not buy it, it's still progress. You got information, you learned from that process, and you moved on. So ask as many questions as possible. Thanks for joining us this week. Next week, Christie will be back. We'll be having some more fun, and we'll see you next week.